This is the Louie T Network.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to Lockdown Coverage, week number 1 in the National Football League. Indianapolis Colts taking on the Los Angeles Rams. Damn! That was an ass whooping of epic proportions. I'm going to try to make it as quick as possible. I don't want to spend too much time on it. Obviously, the Colts didn't spend that much time preparing for this ass whooping, and I don't want to give too much credence to what I saw. It was week 1, no Andrew Luck, but damn. We're going to get to the Colts side of things. We're going to start with the Rams in this game because they did the ass whooping, so they deserve the credit in this ball game. Before we get to that, though, if you're not already a subscriber, what are you waiting on? Subscribe to the Louie T Network for more great content in 2017 and beyond. We're changing the game here on the Louie T Network. Want you to help us do that by simply hitting the subscribe button and becoming a member of the Louie T Network. Also, I'm on Twitter. In the Lab Room is the Twitter handle. Follow me on Twitter. I'm also on Instagram. It's with the Z _ me, Louie T, on IG. That's me. So find me, follow me. And if you're watching this video live and you want your voice to be heard at the conclusion of this breakdown, use the hashtag #LouieTLive and I'll read your comment on the air and we will react accordingly. So let's start with the Rams. I'd be lying if I said I saw 46 points coming. I'd also be lying if I said I saw a blowout coming. That being said, I'm not surprised that they won. I'm not surprised that they won going away, but I didn't expect them to be up 27-3, 34-3 at halftime, whatever it was, 37-3? No, it wasn't 37. It was like 27-3 at halftime. I didn't see that. No, I didn't. I didn't see all the mistakes by the Colts. I didn't see 2 pick sixes, a fumble by a veteran leader like T.Y. Hilton. Chuck Pagano. We're going to get to Chuck in a second, man. I told Rams fans that Sean McVay was going to come in and change the game. Like, none of this surprises me. Because I told you the minute you hired Sean McVay that you now have an offensive genius running your football team. Simple as that. And you can't tell me. And I know it's one game and I'm not going to take it and run with it. Neither should you. But you should feel very pleased and very encouraged by what you saw. You can't tell me that Jared Goff didn't look like a different quarterback. He didn't look like the dude you saw last year. And that don't sit here and try to tell me that it's just Jared Goff in year 2. He's taking that huge second-year leap. Bullshit. If you sit here and you're trying to look me in my eyes with a straight face and say that, I'd have smacked you with my backhand. That has nothing to do. If he was still under Jeff Fisher in year 2, he'd look like he did last year, like straight trash. The fact of the matter is, the man is in good hands now with Sean McVay. McVay's going to... I told you already. I explained this to anybody that would listen to me. If you have the talent to be good, McVay will make you great. If you have the talent to be mediocre, McVay will make you good. If you have the talent to be bad, McVay will make you mediocre. End of discussion. That's what great offensive minds do. Look at Kyle Shanahan with Billy Ho. Billy Ho has the talent to be mediocre. Every time he gets with Kyle Shanahan, he plays well. I thought he played good Against the Panthers in week 1, I didn't think he played great, but he gave his team a chance. They just didn't make plays, and they made way too many mistakes. We'll talk about that when we break that game down. Bottom line is, I explained this to you already, so I don't want to continue to toot my horn, but when I'm right, you're going to know I'm right. And when I'm wrong, I'll tell you I'm wrong. And this doesn't surprise me any. Todd Gurley looked more effective. Why? Because there's actually a passing game. There's actually threats on the field other than Todd Gurley. Okay? For the first time in a long time, Samuel Watkins looks healthy. Right? Cooper Kupp looks legit. I told you in the draft wrap-up series, Cooper Kupp was legit. So is Gerald Everett. He looked good. Okay? None of this is a surprise to me. I already told you that this was going to happen. Now it's all about consistency. Consistency. And I told you this as well when you hired Sean McVay. He's coming with Wade Phillips, which means your defense is better automatically. Exponentially better. No Aaron Donald, no problems. You were in the backfield the entire game. Scott Tolzien was under duress the entire game. Wade was dialing him up the entire game. That was fun. If you're a Rams fan, that was fun to watch. Now, what I'm telling you, okay, if you're a Rams fan, what I'm telling you is don't expect that every single week. Don't let that one go to your head. Because if you think that's what this team is moving forward, you're sadly mistaken. Now, they can grow into that type of football team. They can grow into a juggernaut. But it's going to take time. Okay? You make mistakes. Tavon Austin muffing a punt. There were penalties galore in that football game. The Colts are just not a smart football team. And it starts with the head coach. And so you got away with a lot of nonsense. You made a ton of mistakes in this game that against a good team, it would have cost you. But you played the Colts with Scott Tolzien. And so those mistakes are relevant. You score 46, you only give up 9, you go home happy, and you get a blowout victory for your head coach in his first career NFL game. Good for you. Good for you. You deserved it. After what happened to you in week 1 last year, you deserve to do the same thing to somebody else in week 1 this year. So hats off to the Rams. It was a hell of a performance. I'm looking for more of this. I'm going to let you know, as a Redskins fan, I was counting that game as a win before the schedule or before the season started. I now look at that game as a loss. I don't think we're going to go to Los Angeles and win next week. And now that Aaron Donald is probably going to play next week, after watching what the Eagles did to my offensive line and watching what your defensive line did to the Colts, I am officially scared and fully expect to lose that game next week. So Sean McVay, he's the man. And I thought it was a great performance by his team. He had them prepared, and they came out and they executed, and Jared Goff looked like a different quarterback. Defensively, Tremaine Johnson said, hey, Aaron Donald's looking for his bread. I could use some more. I'll keep taking these franchise tags, but you need to pay me. Pick 6, forced a fumble early in the ball game. He set the tone, I thought, for this game. He was outstanding, and the rest of the defense followed suit. LaMarcus Joyner gets a pick 6. The defense was all over Scott Tolzien. They were all in the backfield. They had a field day. I mean, guys were just absolutely getting after it. Tanzil Smart among the young guys getting in there, having some fun. I just thought it was an all-around epic game for the Rams. And they just went out, dominated, left no doubt. I mean, like I said, 27-3 at the half. They left absolutely no doubt in the minds of the Indianapolis Colts, their fans, and anybody watching that game. That game was done at the half, and they put an exclamation point on it in the second half as they get it done 46-9. Let's go to the Colts, man. This was a train wreck, and Colts fans have been telling me for quite some time that Chuck Pagano is not the man for the job. And I've been like, hey, give Chuck a chance. You know, Chuck's strong, and Chuck's back from cancer, and Chuck's got to get the right guys on the roster, and he'll be fine. And once you get rid of Ryan Grigson, things will fall into place because Chuck can do it. You can do it. Chuck can do it all night long. Chuck can't do a goddamn thing. Chuck got his brains bashed in so damn bad. After the game at the press conference, Chuck said, "We just got our ass handed to us. Great job by the 49ers. Oh my God. Oh my God, Chuck. No. No, Chuck. Why are you congratulating the 49ers? They just lost 23-3. They feel the same way you do. Chuck, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? Chuck, when your player scores a touchdown, but the referees mark him down at the 1 yard line, you know what you're supposed to do? You're supposed to challenge, not run a play like as if you're getting away with something. Not hurry up, run to the line of scrimmage, and run a play for no gain. No, you're supposed to throw the red challenge flag, say, hey, I think my guy scored a touchdown, might want to take a look at that, and then get your 7 points. Not run 4 plays in a row or 3 plays in a row, go backwards, and then kick a field goal. And the game was still 10-0 at that point. You would have been in the ball game, totally different game, if you just did the right thing there. But Chuck is clueless. Chuck runs 3 plays. Chuck goes backwards. They kick field goal. Oh, Chuck. What the up? I can't do it no more, man. I can't defend Chuck anymore. Whatever happens, happens. If Chuck is fired by week 6, I can't defend him anymore, man. I've tried. Scott Tolzien was horrible. He had his moments. I'll cut him some slack. After watching the game, he wasn't as bad as it seemed. He was bad though, okay, but he wasn't terrible. He was just bad. And he had some throws that he made, and they did some things early, but let's just go to the comments, man. Anyway. Yeah. BE says, no DJ, that's fine. I think we still blow out the Colts. You might. I don't know if you will or not. Your offense, I still have doubts about your offense, especially without DJ. But you got a shot. Their coach is clueless, man. Chuck, he just doesn't get it. I think Chuck's more of a coordinator, not a head coach in this league. I think I'm convinced now. It took me a long time, and sometimes I'll do that. I'll be extremely loyal to a guy that I like, and I like Chuck Pagano. And I want well for Chuck Pagano, but at this point now, Chuck's in over his head, and no Andrew Luck isn't helping the situation any. And I think it might be time for the Colts to start considering. And it's week 1. I'm not advocating that Chuck be ousted during the regular season, but I mean, if this season continues down the path it's going, and look, if Andrew Luck doesn't play in the first 4 games, this team's in trouble. They could easily be 0-4. Simple as that. And so, Anyway, Dark Sealer 1995 says, the Colts are in serious trouble without Luck. The teams this season are done before it even started. Luck is out week 2 as well. They're considering starting Jacoby Brissett. And I'm not opposed to that. I don't know how much of the offense that he could possibly know at this point, but I'm like, why the hell not? Really? So they're mulling over who to start. Maybe Jacoby Brissett can go back to Arizona and get another win. I know he didn't start last year. Jimmy Garoppolo did, but he was on that team when they went into Arizona and won last year. So maybe they can do it again this year. Who knows? We'll see. Dark Sealer 1995 says, the Colts are the Jets 2.0. Their defense is bad. T.Y. Hilton needs to step up. Seems like he disappears way too much for a number one receiver and has trouble getting open. I don't think he disappears as much when Andrew Luck's the quarterback. When I will tell you that there are disappearing acts that he does perform at times. I mean, he is one of those guys that's a number one that 1 week will have 9 catches for 173 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then the next week he'll only have 4 catches for 37 yards. He'll do that on you every now and again, but he's a lot more consistent when Andrew Luck's in the lineup because Andrew's looking for him. And he has a rapport with Andrew. And, Scott Tolzien, man. I mean, I don't know what you want him to actually do. It's Scott Tolzien. So, for what it's worth. BE says, Colts got beat so bad they forgot who they played. Yeah, I mentioned that already. Chuck's pretty bad, man. Chuck's bad off right now. BK Soldier 2010 says, which AFC South team has the best chance to win a division after week 1? No division has ever been won after 1 week, so nothing has changed for me. I think I have the Titans winning the division at 9-7. I haven't moved off of that. The Jags look damn good in week 1, but it's 1 week. The Colts look really bad. It's week 1. It's 1 week. The Texans looked pretty bad. It's week 1. It's 1 week. And the Titans looked mediocre. It's week 1. It's 1 week. So nothing's changed. I'm just going to continue to watch these teams closely and see if anybody kind of asserts themselves in that division and pulls away from the pack. And after seeing what I saw from the Jags, I think this is a team that has the talent to do it. It's all about confidence and consistency for them. And we'll see if they can get that after that win. You'd like to think that should bolster their confidence and send it through the roof, but you never know. We'll see. Dark Sealer 1995 says, Goff is playing with confidence, and I think Sean gave him confidence by making the offense about Goff and highlighting his strengths, which is what Sean McVay does, which is what I told you he would do. And it doesn't surprise me at all. Like I said, I told Rams fans this the day he was hired. Sean McVay is going to change things in Los Angeles. That's what he's doing. The Cubone says, offense looked good for the Rams. Things are finally looking good for my boys. $5 says they lay a fat-ass egg against Washington. I hope you're right. I'm not taking that bet because as bad as we looked in week 1, your defense scares me. Period. Jared Goff looked awesome. I don't know if he'll look that good against us next week, but it wouldn't shock me if he did. I mean, I have little confidence right now, so we'll see. Now, it's an interesting game. You guys have a chance to go to 2-0. We're fighting to go to 1-1 because if we drop to 0-2, you come home for a Sunday night matchup versus the Raiders. Good luck. The season could be over before it even gets started. So we really need this one bad. You want this one? We need it. Or our season could be done before it even gets started. So we'll see. BE says, after we bash the Colts brains in, Chuck will say hats off to Seattle. He has to thank the whole NFC West. Dark Sealer 1995 says, Chuck Pagano is the guy in class who copies a kid on a test and thinks he outsmarted everyone, but he copied the dumbest kid in the class's test paper. Look, y'all not going to sit here and have me talking bad about Chuck. I like Chuck, man. I just think Chuck's in over his head at this point. Chuck needs to be I never advocate for someone to lose his job. He's just in over his head. And I think Chuck is a defensive coordinator. I don't think he's a head coach. Simple as that. I'll leave it at that. The Cubo said, what the F did Chuck really say that? Yeah, he said that after the game in the press conference. The first thing he uttered basically out of his mouth, you know how coach speak goes. When you're pissed off, you walk in and say, yeah, we got our asses handed to us. Hats off to the fill-in-the-blank team that you just played, not fill-in-the-blank team across the bay who just got their brains bashed in as well. So, I mean, that's what happens. You become a little disoriented. Your equilibrium is knocked off, and you're a little bassety when you get knocked around 30, 46 to 9. These things happen. So your Chuck was a little cloudy and hazy, and he forgot who his team just got beat up by. That's all. You take a couple punches to the skull, and that's what happens. X Final Gaming says, are you doing live coverage of the games tonight? No, I am not, but I will be live after the game's conclusion to break down what it is I saw and give my thoughts on the performances of both teams. So come back at the game's conclusion, directly after the game's conclusion for that. My man Dame says, the problem is Chuck Pagano is a lack of defensive talent, in my opinion. Yeah. There's a shortage of defensive talent, but there's no excuse for some of the things Chuck does and doesn't do. Excuse me. His running back, Marlon Mack, scored a touchdown in the first quarter of this game, and he didn't challenge it. He just ran another play. And they got stopped 3 times in a row and had to kick a field goal from the 3-yard line. That has nothing to do with defensive talent. That's just called being a smart head coach, which right now Chuck Pagano doesn't seem to be. But again, I'm not here to name call. BE says the Colts versus the Cardinals game is in Indy, not Arizona. So you could easily lose that game, buddy. You're on the road for the second straight game. So we'll see. I don't know. See, the Protect 428 says, damn, bro, the Colts got their ass obliterated. Until Andrew returns, they'll be the Jets of 2017 and Scott throws more pick sixes instead of touchdown passes. I think they're going to end up benching him this week and going with Jacoby Brissett. If he's ready, I think they're going to go with him. We'll see. Like I said, watching it back, Scott was bad. He wasn't terrible. He was just bad. He just made some poor decisions, but there were some good throws in there as well. So, Damon Brown says, Colin Kaepernick to the Colts. Nah, they're not doing that. Blackbird Blitz says, should we dismiss the AFC South from lockdown coverage? Maybe a week suspension or something? No, because the Jags actually played well. The Titans weren't horrible. They didn't throw up all over themselves. They just got beat by a better team. So, no, it'd be one thing if the whole entire division was bad and they played teams outside the division, or 2 teams in the division played each other to a 6-9 game that was just hard to watch on the eyes. Yeah, then maybe so. But nah, we'll cut them some slack. Protect 428 says, bro, the Jags are leading the AFC South division. How long will this last? LOL. Hell, the Buffalo Bills are leading the AFC East. How long will that last? I mean, it's week 1. That's why I don't get into all of the shenanigans, because you look at the standings in the AFC East and the AFC South, and you see teams' names there that don't normally go there, and you're like, wow, this is intriguing. We all know the Patriots are still going to win that division, and I don't want to denounce the Jags because they got a shot. That division is wide open every single year, and I don't think this year is going to be any different. And if the Jags can play with confidence and Blake Bortles can not turn the football over and the defense plays, they don't even have to play at the level they played against Houston at. They just got to play at a semblance of that level week in and week out. They'll have a shot. So we'll see. Dark Sealer 1995 says, I know I comment a lot, but you're my favorite man on YouTube, and I appreciate the hard work you put into every single video. Hey, man, I appreciate that. I'm glad you comment. I want you to comment. I want people to comment, and the back and forth dialogue is what makes this show what it is, okay? I could sit here and talk for an hour, but what good is that? I mean, I talk enough as it is. You know, I want you guys' voice to be heard as well. That's what these shows are here for you guys to have a platform to speak your mind on football just as much as me doing the same. So, absolutely. Protect 428 says, can't wait to come up to the 757, and when I do, can't wait to link up. No doubt, man. Absolutely. And that's going to do it for this stream. We got one more, and then that'll lead us right into Monday Night Football. So perfect timing as the Indianapolis Colts get destroyed by the Los Angeles Rams. That was impressive. Now the thing you want to see from the Rams is, can they do it consistently? Not necessarily put up 46 and shut the other team down and hold them without a touchdown in the game, or hold them to under 10 points. But rather, can they just consistently look this sharp and crisp on offense? They need to limit some of the mistakes they made. Like I said, there were a ton of penalties. They gave a lot of opportunities to the Colts in this game. They just weren't able to take advantage. Can't have the fumble on special teams. Can't have the amount of penalties. They had a bunch of penalties in the game, but they were able to overcome it. And you want to see this team continue to get after teams defensively like they did in this game and score points the way that they did in this game. And we'll see if they can for the Colts. You just hope it can't get much worse. You've got to think it's got to get better, right? And maybe Jacoby Brissett is the guy that can change the fortunes of that team until Luck returns. We'll see, but Andrew Luck can't get back fast enough. But this team's going nowhere fast this year anyway. No need to rush back your franchise quarterback. He needs to be fully healthy before he hits the field again, and they need to keep him that way once he comes back. So we'll see what happens with the Colts. But Rams get it done, 46-9, run their record to 1-0 on the season. Colts drop to 0-1. The good thing is, losing by 37 still only counts as one loss. And so they get to go home and try their luck again next week versus the Arizona Cardinals. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, on Lockdown coverage. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here on the Louie T Network. Come back and join me as I continue to break down anything and everything in the National Football League. Got one more game in Lockdown coverage, Panthers at Niners. That's coming at you next. I'll see you in a second. Have a good one.